So you went away to study lymphedema.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about that.
Well, I found an online course, and with that was a week's practical for the exams. And so I immersed myself in this for the next 6 months.
6 months.
6 months, studying day and night all about the lymphatic system.
Right.
I hadn't even heard of it till this point.
Well, it actually goes all the way through your body.
Yeah.
It doesn't it?
Yeah.
It starts at the head and it goes through the arms, down through the
everywhere.
groin, down through
Yep.
your chest, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yep.
And it's the main pathway to take toxins out of your body.
Because it's not your bloodstream, it's a
No.
separate entity to your bloodstream, but it goes kind of in line with some of
So
it.
how I explain it to my clients is it's like a set of headphones, like earbuds. You've got the two wires that sit right next to each other. If one wire snaps, you can still hear through the headbuds, the earbuds, whatever they're called.
Yeah,
But you're not going to get the whole sound.
yeah.
The lymph system is the same. It runs right next to the circulatory system, and they work together. They meet at one point in the body, only one.
Where's that?
The cisterna-chyli, which is just under your spleen.
Ooh.
So on your left side under your rib cage.
Ooh, okay. And that's the only place that
The
they
only
meet.
place that they actually meet.
How come they meet there?
They exchange wastes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Understand.
And so this system runs right through your body and takes away every bit of debris that it can find. And it's one of the most important systems of the body. But it's affected by, because it's superficial, just under the skin, it's affected by cuts, by grazes, by surgeries, sometimes by animal stings, or if you get an infection, it's affected by all of those.
Okay, let's talk about this a little bit more. You say infected, cuts, abrasions, anything like that, surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean affected?
So you have lymph nodes right through your body.
Yes.
You have over 700 lymph nodes.
Right.
And any one of those can be damaged if you just happen to damage that part of the skin that it sits under.
Right. And is it and the lymph nodes sit close to the surface of
They
the
do.
skin?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I learnt was that during my surgery, not only did they take some of my nodes out, they damaged a whole lot of others at a very crucial point in my body, which is the collarbone.
Yeah.
And because most of the cancer was on the right side of my thyroid, and one was also in a node under my ear, that's where most of the damage was. So my lymph had stagnated. What I learnt from doing more and more study was that the lymph stagnation would have come before the cancer. The cancer would have been the result of the toxins not being moved out. Now for years I'd been telling my GPs back in Geelong, something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. They actually told me I had Munchausen's. They wrote it in my file.
What's Munchausen's?
So it's a psychiatric disorder where you believe that you are sick when you're not. And Munchausen's by proxy is when you believe your child or someone that you're looking after, is sick when they're not. So I was told I had Munchausen's.
So they're telling you you're a bit nutty?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Insulting.
Yeah. The only thing they told me was lose weight or you'll die.
How simplistic can they get?
Mm-hmm.
How irresponsible can they be to say that and not do further tests?
They didn't do any tests.
Not-
I never once had any tests done.
That is totally irresponsible of the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't go there. I can't
Let's not go there. It's not their fault. They don't know any better.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
So
Okay.
here I was learning about the lymphatic system. I went back to my GP and said, hey, you're right, it's lymphedema. And he said, yeah, I knew it was. I just wanted you to be invested in this. So the reason he sent me away and said, come back, was he knew I had to do something about it. I had to learn about it, understand what was going on, and take responsibility for what was happening inside me.
Yes. Like that idea.
Yes.
Did he know about it?
He knew a little, but not enough. So
Right.
when I went in for my, 15-minute consultation, an hour later, he was just like looking at the roof going, please leave the room. I know too much about it now.
Right. But what did he say to you after you'd done all that research? Did he congratulate you? Did he say
He
thank
did.
you?
Look, he's wonderfully supportive, and he's still our family doctor now. Wonderfully supportive about the whole thing, and said if anyone was going to learn about it, I knew it was you. Unfortunately, while I was doing my prac exams, I went up to Queensland to do those. The lady running the course had a feel for my neck, and she said, "You've got fibrotic lymph fluid that's been there for years." So it was so hard, that's why my neck was killing me and why I couldn't turn my head. It hadn't just stagnated, it had solidified.
So what do you do about that?
Manual drainage, which was what I was learning.
And you know, the interesting thing is that I knew someone many years ago who had a mastectomy,
Mm-hmm.
and she used to have lymphatic drainage on a regular basis. And this is what happens with people who have operations and things, and they have lymph nodes removed and things like that. It's a necessity to have that drainage done on a regular basis.
It is. Unfortunately, a lot of surgeons and oncologists don't say that, and no one said it to me.
Right, okay. So how do you change that? How do you change the mindset of the fraternity of mainstream medicine to understand that they need to educate their patients so that they can be there for them to support them, but also for the patient to actually take responsibility and do things in their own right?
Look, the only way is education. And it's things like this conversation today. If one person says, "What is lymphatic drainage? I need to know more," then that's great. They'll go and tell their GP, their surgeon, their oncologist, whoever is in their life, in that world, "I need lymphatic drainage."
And if anyone needs lymphatic drainage and they don't understand any of it, contact Magic.
I'm here.
It's really interesting. So let's talk a little bit. Let's move away from the cancer and talk about the Lyme disease. Now, what's Lyme disease?
So Lyme disease is a bacterial infection, and it's a co-infection of a few different bacteria. Unfortunately, I tested positive for 2 of them, but I didn't test positive for the 3rd one. So Lyme disease in Australia is called Lyme-like illness because it's not recognised here.
What causes it?
So it's caused by tick bites.
Yes.
That's the main way. There's a few other ways that you can get it. Mosquitoes. I think I got mine from mosquitoes because I don't ever remember seeing a bullseye saw or a tick bite or anything like that on me. But I am a mosquito magnet. I can literally be in a room with 200 people, not now. But
don't bring them in here.
The mozzies will come and seek me. You'll all be fine if you're near me when there's mozzies around.
Okay. All right. What's the 3rd thing in the Lyme disease that you didn't have?
I didn't have Bartonella, which is one of the strains.
Okay, so what's Bartonella?
So
you're talking to someone who does not understand this.
So it's a bacteria. So
Right.
there are 3 bacteria carried by mosquitoes
All right.
and ticks.
So what are they?
So there's Babesia,
Babesia,
Bartonella, and for the life of me, I can't remember the 3rd one.
Okay,
So what I learnt going on from getting this diagnosis of having Lyme-like illness was that everything I was experiencing that people that have Lyme experience was actually also toxicity.
So it all comes back to toxicity,
Yeah.
doesn't it? A lot of medical conditions come back to the toxicity in your
And the
body.
symptoms are all very similar. So what we do is, as medical and as complementary practitioners, a lot of us treat symptoms, but you can't. You have to look at the systems. So that's where my practice differs.
And you know what? Oh, I can't say anything. I just, people, when they go to the doctor for flus, viruses, or not feeling well, you get your 10-minute or your 15 or your half an hour, but you don't know what to ask the doctor, and the doctor doesn't know if you can't explain it to them. So therefore, they can't deal with something that they haven't been made aware of. So what we have to do as individuals, humans, is really read our body and know and feel what's right and what doesn't feel right. And I'm not going to say normal, because what's normal? So what's not right? If something's not, you're feeling sick, or you're got a pain somewhere, or whatever it might be, investigate it.
Totally. So symptoms are like when you're driving a car, you put your indicator on, that's a symptom. But the indicator doesn't turn the wheel for you. Your body does that. The systems do that.
Yeah.
And so what most people do, like I said, is they get a sniffly nose. I must be sick. What's behind a sniffly nose? I've got a sore knee. I must need a knee operation or an arthroscope or whatever. No, what's behind the knee pain? Is it coming from somewhere else in the body, which it usually is?
Referred pain.
Referred pain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually the lymphatic system.
That's interesting.
So we need to really look at the 11 systems of the body, work them in with each other.
Can we talk about the 11 systems? The lymphatic system, the circulatory system,
the nervous system,
the
skeletal system, the muscular, the reproductive, elementary.
What's the elementary?
The waist.
The waist. Oh, mine's grown. Let's move on.
So there's a lot, but the ones that I look at the most are the circulatory, the lymphatic, and the nervous.
Yeah, and the nervous system, you know, all you have to do is move the wrong way and pinch a nerve, and the nerve will refer the pain to somewhere where it's not even. Mm-hmm. It hasn't started from there, but it's just gone to there. Yeah. So it's really interesting stuff. It's a little bit like, you know, if you have a pinched nerve in your back, your leg, the pain goes down your leg, and all these sorts of things, the symptoms. If it's, you know, you look at posture, and I look at posture, and I look at people who run and walk, and the way they walk and the way they run, and the energy they use from inefficiencies that happen. And I take note of these things, being involved in the health and fitness industry for a very long time. I notice these things, and, you know, and I know I'm conscious about the way I walk, how I stand, how I sit, all those sorts of things. Yeah. So we all have to take note of that, don't we?
We do, and we're not taught to do that though. So we have a limp, we don't recognise where the limp is coming from. We have a pain in our side, a stitch. We always thought stitches were from eating and drinking and running around. No, they could be caused by something else.
What could it be caused by?
Could be blocked lymphatics. It could be a
scaring me.
A lovely thing called stenosis, which I now have in my neck. So that is where the spaces between vertebrae are crushed and lessened. So that then impacts the nervous system.
Yes.
So it could be a random pain from the nervous system saying, hey, listen, I'm not very happy right here. Pay attention. And of course we don't. We think, oh, it's a stitch, it'll go away. Yeah. It could be your spleen or your liver, because we usually have a stitch right under our rib cage, and that's where those two guys sit.
Yes.
It could be anything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
But we become numb to what the symptoms are telling us.
We ignore it.
We do. We've learnt to cover them up. Take a painkiller. Take an ibuprofen.
Oh no.
Do this. Do that.
I don't take any of that stuff.
You know.
When I broke my ankle last year, they gave me, what's that medication that you are allergic to?
Well, there's tons of them. I'm allergic to penicillin now. Endone.
Endone. They gave me. I didn't take any medications. I never had any medication. It didn't matter. They operated and put a plate and 7 screws in my leg. Yeah. And, you know, I suppose I was highly medicated while they were doing it. But after they'd done it, I didn't take any medication at all. At all. I wasn't in pain. Yeah. Why? I find that quite fascinating, because there was no pain there.
Totally, because your mind said, there doesn't need to be pain. I'm on top of this.
Oh, I was on top of it, and they told me that I had to rest it, and I thought, oh, you've got to be kidding me. No, you know, weight bearing? Oh, come on. Seriously? You know, and the result was fine, because I've got more movement in my ankle than I would have if I'd kept it still.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. So it's all, not all, but it is what we think about, we bring about.
Totally.
And our thoughts are, you know, if we want to have good things in our life, we have to change our thoughts. But we also have to be aware of the habits that we've developed over the years.
Yeah.
So that we can actually start to change the ones that we can change and leave alone the other ones, because we can't change everything.
Totally. And me getting the cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me. And people are probably falling off their chairs listening to this. But it made me really address what was going on in my life.
You know what? And I've heard that before. I've heard that it was a gift, because it made me realise that what was going on in my life I had to change
Yep.
and make a difference. And it's a big kick in the guts, and I have to say that.
Yeah.
But the reality is you either go that way and fall into that hole and let people treat you and you don't do anything and you just die, or you go this side, you do your research, you take responsibility, you can do both, you can do one, you can do whatever, it's your choice.
Totally. And I really learnt, don't resent what has happened and don't resent the people that made things happen, because my reaction is my reaction.
People don't make it happen to you. You do. You allow it.
I did allow it. I allowed to be abused, and I allowed my body to get sick, and then I allowed the surgeons to tell me what was going to happen, and I allowed the court system to bully me, and I allowed my lawyer to chalk up a huge bill, which, thanks very much.
And you know what? I can't go there. I can't go there because I'll say things that I really mustn't say.
But you know, it's how you look at things. I am not resentful for anything that's happened in my life.
No point.
There is no point.
That's a story.
Absolutely none.
That's the past.
Yep.
You can't change it.
Yep.
So leave it alone. Be here right now. As I have conversations with people, I say we're here in the present moment. That's all we have. We have the future, which we can do plans, make plans and do all that sort of stuff. But what we have is right here, right now. You can make the choice to change things or stay where you are.
Totally. And divorce and illness and all of those things are just a tap on the shoulder to make you look over your shoulder and go, okay, I don't really like who I am, what I've allowed to happen, what I've created in my life. Where do I go to from here?
And I think we need to, on a regular basis, look at who we are and look at ourselves in the mirror and say, is that really me or is that someone else? Where is the real me? And go searching inside to find where the real me is, and be honest and truthful to yourself.
Exactly.
And say, okay, don't like that. I'm going to change it. I'm going to go back to who I was. Like you saw me dancing at the beginning. That's me, because that's what I love doing, being crazy. And, you know, I don't allow people to see me do that. Very often. You were privileged.
Oh, I feel so blessed.
You were privileged. But, you know, let's continue this conversation after the news.
Sure.